Looking for a new, tasty, healthy side dish? Try this baked polenta with tomatoes and Parmesan. It's easy to make and super delicious. Hello, and welcome to Cooking Lessons for Dad, where you'll learn to cook healthy, cook easy. My name is Karen Breyer, and today we are making delicious baked polenta with tomatoes. It is such a delicious side dish. Polenta is a common Italian dish. Today we are going to have some spices, tomatoes, and Parmesan cheese to make it taste really delicious. It's easy to make and healthy too. So the ingredients in this recipe are vegetable broth, polenta or coarse ground cornmeal, rubbed sage, kosher salt, fresh ground pepper, and some beefsteak tomatoes, which are like large, juicy, firm tomatoes, Parmesan cheese, and cooking spray. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our broth in our pan and bring it to a boil. So we have 4 cups of vegetable broth. You could buy pre-made broth or make your own. Pour the broth into a large saucepan or a pot. So I'm going to turn the heat up to high to bring the broth to a boil. So while we're waiting for the broth to boil, we'll go ahead and spray our pans. We need a 9 by 13 baking pan. Just go ahead and spray that with a cooking spray. So we also need a baking sheet, cookie sheet. Go ahead and spray that with cooking spray. Okay, so we'll just set these aside and we'll need them later. Okay, our vegetable broth is coming to a boil. We're going to go ahead and add our polenta or coarse ground cornmeal, and we have 1 1/4 cups. You need to add it very slowly while stirring. If you add it too fast, you'll get a lot of lumps. I like to use a whisk. That also helps prevent lumps. Continue to stir. Okay, once you have the polenta in, continue to stir. Turn down the heat to medium or medium to low. You're going to continue to stir until the polenta is thick and it starts to come away from the sides of the pan. While we're stirring, we're going to go ahead and add our sage. We have 1 tablespoon of rubbed sage, and rubbed sage is the fluffy sage. You're going to add that, stir it in. Turn the heat down if it's splattering. You could, in place of the rubbed sage, which I prefer, but you could also use 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of ground sage, which is a lot stronger, or you could use a tablespoon of fresh chopped sage, which is not as strong. Next, we have 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Keep stirring. And you can adjust the seasonings to taste. We're going to also add about 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. Do your best to keep stirring. We'll just add it real fast. You can switch to a spoon or a spatula. You only need to use the whisk when you first put in the cornmeal to make sure it doesn't have lumps. Okay, you can see it's really thick now. It pulls away from the sides of the pan. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the heat. If you have an electric stove, go ahead and take the pan off the burner. So we're going to go ahead and put it in our pan. The handles are pretty hot, so we're just going to spoon it in. Okay, we're going to spread it so it's an even layer. Okay, that's pretty even. While we're letting it cool, we'll go ahead and slice our tomatoes. Okay, so while our polenta is cooling, we're going to go ahead and slice our tomatoes, maybe around 1/4 inch slices. You need large, firm, juicy tomatoes. I think this one is a little too small and this one is a little too big, so do your best. You want them, so we're going to put them on each slice of polenta. We're going to have 16 slices total, but you can make more or less polenta slices. You can make them bigger or smaller, so you can make them big to fit this tomato, small to fit this, but I'm going to make 16. So I'm just going to do my best and cut them into about 1/4 inch slices. I'm going to take out the core first. Go ahead and slice. So we're not going to really use the tops or the bottom because we want nice, pretty slices. And save these for like a salad. So we got 4 here. Might need to grab another tomato. Okay, we got 4 more slices. We'll use the best ones. And we'll be back when our polenta is cooled. While the polenta is cooling, go ahead and preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Okay, our polenta is pretty cool. It doesn't need to be totally cool, just so it's cool enough so you can handle it and it's firm. I'm going to go ahead and cut this into about 16 squares, and you can make them bigger or smaller. Like, really, I should make bigger ones for my big tomatoes, but I think I'm going to make them all the same size. You could also cut these with a knife. This is just easy. So we're going to go ahead and put our polenta slices on our sprayed baking sheet. Okay, next we'll go ahead and put a tomato slice over each piece of polenta. So we got 3 jumbo ones. We'll just put them on. So next we're going to go ahead and sprinkle our Parmesan on each one. About 2 tablespoons total, but put as much as you would like. Pretty sure I put more than 2 tablespoons, but it's going to taste good. So next we're going to go ahead and put it in our 400 degree oven. Okay, we're going to bake our polenta about 25 minutes or until the polenta and the cheese start to brown. Okay, let's check our polenta. And I let it cook a little longer because I like the cheese kind of browned. So let's go try it. So let's try our baked polenta with tomatoes and Parmesan. I love this. Try a couple of them. So this is a great side dish. If you had leftovers, you could heat it up. I think it would be really good with a bean dish. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and try it. So good. Let's check out one of my jumbo ones. They look like they came out just fine. So good. I love the texture. The seasoning is just perfect. And you're going to love it. Try it. And I'll see you in the next lesson.